try this with the camera facing this way, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to hop in and check just to make sure if anybody comments or say anything on live. We're gonna see. But anyway, guys, good morning. I hope you all are doing great. Today, we're operating on a early dismissal for the kids, so that's why I'm hopping on a little bit different with time. But I definitely wanted to hop on here and say hello. What I'm working on right now is my Monstera Deliciosa. It is Monstera Mondays. That's what I do, Monstera Mondays on Instagram. And that's when I'm able just to kind of take my favorite Monstera, what's going on, whether it's a good thing that's happening, maybe talking about some bad things that's happening, some updates and so forth. So that's usually what I do with this. Today, this is the one that stays in my room. You can see just how big he actually is. It's a big boy. I bought this plant last year before last, I believe. And the Monstera Deliciosa really is that plant that started my whole journey when it comes to Monsteras. They're easily and readily available at your big box stores. And at the time, they was like $10 to $13. Now, can you still get that at that price? Yes, absolutely. But I will say over the summertime, I was a little bit shocked just to kind of see that these plants were selling for $29 in the big box store, and they was nowhere near the size. We're talking about your standard, about 8-inch pot. Monsteras usually come a little bit bigger because of their size, you know. Which brings us to the conversation of size. Size on these Monsteras get pretty big, so just keep that in mind if you're looking to have one of them in your house, and they do need a lot of light. The more light you can provide to them, the better. They don't mind letting some direct sunlight hit their leaves from time to time either. Now, I have mine that comes in usually early in the morning and then later on in the evening, and it's usually between a 20 to a 30-minute time frame of that sunlight coming in. But other than that, they'll do perfectly fine. Now, when we're talking about pests and so forth, Monsteras are known for thrips. I mean, I think that when they sell them to us, they should say come with thrips. But you just want to know what kind of system you want to use when it does happen, because it's not a if it happens, it will happen. If you have as many Monsteras or if you collect as many plants as I do, pests and things like that, they happen. Do they suck? Yes, but there are things that are out here to help us deal with that. Now, one of the things that I wanted to bring to your attention to today, I went to the store and I bought some Neem Max. This is the first time of me using this. I usually just go with a neem oil, peppermint soap, get some water, mix it in together. But guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, as my plants continue to grow and as they continue to get bigger, it's really hard for me to find that 10, 15-minute time frame of mixing it. And I go through it so fast, and that's a mix that once you mix it together, you have to throw it out. You don't want to carry it over. So sometimes I waste a lot of product with that, and I just never can know how many bottles I need to pre-make. So it becomes time consuming having to stop and make some more. So this right here is Neem Max. It comes with cold pressed neem oil. You get it from Home Depot. Let me see, do I have my receipt? Because I never seem to be able to remember the prices on here. I don't have it with me, but I can tell you this. This was $9.97. Another one that I got was the insecticidal super soap. This is the first time of me using this. And I should disclose with you, whenever it comes to me using new products, I only experiment at 1, 2, maybe 3 plants max, because the last thing I want to do is put something on all my plants and just assume it's going to work and my whole collection get wiped out. So if you have just a few plants, let's say you have 3 or 4, I would just experiment with 1 just to kind of see how it's going to turn out. Now, am I too worried about neem oil? Absolutely not. This is a concentrate and we can make up to 10 gallons with this. I'm just going to put a little dot in a spray bottle and just go with that. I never use measurement when it comes to like your peppermint soap or your neem oil. I make sure that 90% of it is water and the rest of it is just these 2 little ingredients. Now, this right here is a really good bottle size to use, and I also have one that's a little bit bigger, but I find that this usually gets me around most of my plants. And If I need to refill it, it's fine, but just in case I don't have to use all of it, it's not so much I have to throw away. All right, guys, and I'm gonna check my phone just to see if you all are coming in and have some questions, if it allows me to do it. All right, and it is not allowing me to be able to do that. All right, I'm gonna check to see. Hold on. Hey, Dermot. Hope you're doing great this morning. Don't know what your weather is looking like, but here over in North Carolina, everybody's panicking over a little bit of cold rain, but we'll see. All right, so what we're going to go ahead and do is talk about the soil that you want to have for this plant. It's very important that you go with a nice chunky airy mix and add a little bit of indoor pot mix in. And the reason why that's so important is your Android plants in general, your philodendrons, your monsteras, so forth, they don't like to sit in moisture. Now, I will say about a monstera as well as a pothos, they do prefer their soil to stay a little bit more moist longer, not soggy wet. You shouldn't be, as soon as you pour it in and it's, and usually if it feels like that, your soil, when you water it, it becomes almost like mud-like, and you are growing tropical houseplants, I would really advise you to go ahead and do a repot and get that into something airy. I completely underestimated the importance of that when I first started my journey. I just went to the store, bought, I'm gonna use Miracle Grow for example, but I'm not throwing them under the bus. They're just the most easiest to find mix. I would just grab that bag of Miracle Grow and that's what I would plant my plants in. It would not work. It just will hold too much water, too much moisture when you water them. So you definitely want to go with something a little bit more chunkier. And I did this. I went from the Miracle Grow to making my own mix. Now, unless you are fully comfortable and you feel very just confident in your work, don't just pop straight out, make that mix and put it for all your plants. Again, experiment with one first. I did not do that. I repotted everything that I wanted to repot and I lost over half. And at that time, I probably had about 30 plants. I lost about 14 to 15 plants off of just putting something together and just expecting it to grow. Now, I opened up a big bag of mix, which is called Pete's something. I know that the mix is great. I have bought it since then and everything. So it's a really good brand, but it has a lot of different mixtures inside of that soil. With that, when I opened it, I left it out for about, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. I saw a little bit of mold on top of it. Figure, hey, it's just mold. It's natural. I'm pretty sure everything's going to be fine. Mixed it in my mix, repotted my plants, and that's what happened with that. Now, not all of them died from that mix. I did have a couple to make it, but most of them did die out of that. So yeah, so you can go to the store and already buy some chunky mixes pre-made. Now, one mix that works really good is gonna be the Black Gold. You can get this from the store. Now, still for your monsteras, I still will recommend that you still put some more Miracle Grow or just an indoor pot mix, because this mix right here is still almost too chunky and it's gonna get, it's gonna run through and get dried out pretty fast. But yeah, you can get your mixes and stuff pre-made, and you definitely can get them online. You can go to Amazon and get it already delivered to you. Because guys, your soil is very crucial, because that's what your plant is going to grow out of. That's what it's going to depend on. So another thing that you want to do is fertilize and feed your plant. I underestimated the power of fertilizing. Now, when it comes to feeding the plant, I experimented from time to time just with different plant foods and so forth. just because why not? And if I would have been consistent at it, I believe my plants would have been benefited from them a whole lot earlier. But I would sparingly use it from time to time, whether that would be, and it did help them out some. But I never fertilized my plants, and I just would keep saying, well, my plants are doing perfectly fine. I don't need to worry about it. But I'm gonna tell you something. Yes, my plants were doing fine, and I'm here to tell you that your plants can do fine. However, once I fertilized my plants, I started to notice that they was less prone to getting sick first. Second thing, they started waking up and they just started really growing, and not just growing all flimsy and dimsy. No, they were actually growing like the plants that I saw in the picture that I wanted to ultimately have. So it's very important that you pay attention to your soil and that you get it the nutrition that it needs so your plant can grow. And I know we touched on light, but that light is just as important when it comes to that soil, because these plants need light. And sometimes just putting it by a window, if that window isn't getting some really good light, you're not doing a service to it either, because it just needs it. Now, I have gone to places and I've seen them sit kind of in dark little sections. And again, monsteras and philodendrons and pothos and hoyas, for the most part, they're a low light requirement type of plant, just meaning that they can grow in low light, but you want your plants to thrive. So they're never going to look like the pictures of the plants you actually want if you don't give them those type of requirements. So you got your soil and then you have your light. The next thing is going to be your watering. Now, you want to allow these plants to completely dry out in between your waterings. Now, what a normal dry out look like, first I'm going to show you something that it should not look like. I don't know if you can see very closely, but you see these little crisp edges. That's because the plant dried out too long. That's not good. But you'll be able to see that your plant, the leaves will kind of curl in a little bit, or monstera will just start to droop a little bit. When that happens, you go ahead and give it some water, and you want to water it all the way from the top of the pot to the bottom. When you water your plant, you want to make sure that the water starts to flow out the pot. It's a passive water flow. If you're watering your plant for a very long time and nothing's coming out and the pot's getting really, really heavy, you could have some blockage going on in the drainage, or you could be having, I don't know the exact word to call it, but it's like dry spots in which the water never hits that part of the soil. It just goes around. Guys, you have roots all over everywhere, so it's missing something very important in there, which could be contributing to why your plant isn't growing as healthy. So definitely just make sure that water is able to go from the top to the bottom. You're not overwatering your plant. You're fully watering your plant like you're supposed to. Then you leave it alone. You put it where it needs to go and you go from there. That's pretty much all the requirements that I can tell you that has helped me a lot with this plant. Now, when it does get pest, especially thrips, you want to treat it aggressive. You want to, it's not one of those things you get to it at the end of the day. Go ahead, you have time right then and there. Go ahead and get on it. The earlier, the better, because you don't have to lose your plants to pests, but you will if you neglect it. All right, I'm gonna check to see if you all put any messages or anything in. Good morning, Daniel. Yeah, I guess that's kind of funny. I got a chuckle out of that. It is pretty big. Yeah, it's a good sized plant. And that last leaf right there, just to kind of give you a size of it, I have pretty big hands, and yeah, this leaf right here could pretty much cover my head up, so I know those can. And what I need to be doing right now is, she looks pretty clean, and I'm glad I was right here because I would have lost that plant. Um, I need to start cleaning her leaves. That's the reason why I bought the neem oil and the spray. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip the camera screen, guys. And while we're here, I'm gonna go ahead and clean the leaves, and we'll just sit here and talk for a little while. All right, So give me 1 second. I'm gonna go and get a fresh bottle. Well, clean this bottle out, and then I'm gonna mix a little bit of this neem in here, and then we're gonna get to work. Let's see here. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and turn this around so we're good to go when I get back. Oh, the lighting really is not how I want it to be. Okay, so should I leave it like this or should I turn it the other way? Then I'll just check to see. Y'all let me know. If I keep it like this, I'll be able to directly respond if I see a message. But the other way, I just have to go back and check it. You all just let me know down there. Pretty sure you all can hear this water. Guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I would have cleaned my kitchen up and would have had it looking nice, I would have brought you in here. But it's a hot mess. I cooked dinner last night, and I mean, I cleaned all the dishes part of it, but you know, it's just the pots. Now, I don't know if you all ever watched the show The Office, but I don't know if you remember when Jim and I think it was Daryl, they lived together for a while, and he was talking about how Jim don't like to wash dishes, and so Jim will always just say, "I'm just letting the dishes soak," but really that's cold for you to stop washing it. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just letting the dishes soak. Okay. All right, guys, and I'm on my way. Almost forgot the sprayer. Do not want to do that. All right, what do we go with? Anybody say anything? Good morning. Happy Monday. How do you feel about fertilizer in the winter months? Fertilize your plants, feed your plants, water your plants, do everything you need to do for your plants. Don't allow the weather to stop you. Most of the time, I don't know if you fertilize how frequent you fertilize your plants, but usually it's once every quarter or maybe a little bit more frequently. So in the winter months, well, you're gonna fertilize them maybe 1 to 2 times. It's not that it's not that bad. The thing is about people talk about in the wintertime is that you just don't have as much sunlight coming in, and because you don't have as much sunlight coming in, your plants won't they don't absorb as much nutrients as fast, which causes a lot of yellowing in your plants. Because most people, we get on the cycle of we're used to when we watering our plants, and if you just keep on watering your plants on that cycle and you never notice that the plant isn't sucking it up, then that's when you start to have some type of plant problems. But yeah, I would say keep fertilizing your plant. See here. I've been told water bottom. Yes, bottom watering is better. It's the best. It absolutely is. The thing is, for me, is that bottom watering is very time consuming. You're looking at each plant sucking up time, maybe between 20 to 30 minutes on average. And that's depending on what kind of soil you have. And especially if you have a chunky mix, it could be forever for it to work all up through your orchid bark and your perlite. And I just simply don't have time to do it. But bottom watering is far superior than top watering. That's true. Let's see what else, what other questions we have, guys. All right, so again, this is what I'm using that I went and bought, and I'm gonna mix it in with my water right here. Now, what neem oil does, makes your plant shiny, clean it. And that's very important for your plant to be able to photosynthesize. Like all the grow lights that you give in the plant, all the lights that you give in your plants from the window doesn't mean anything if you have all that dust sitting on the leaves. And it can happen very quickly. I'm gonna show you up and close just how this plant might have looked like it was clean, but the leaves aren't. Let's show you. All right, so I don't know if you can see pretty good, but this right here, I'm gonna just put my finger, see if you can wipe some of the dust off so you can notice the difference. That was a terrible example. Let's see. Sorry, guys. You know what? We just gonna spray and then you'll see it. I have to keep in mind that this plant will rock off of here, so I'm gonna spray here. All right, so I have my mixing here. I put, this is a 12-ounce bottle. I put 10-ounce water in here, and then I just put a little bit of neem oil in here. I use lukewarm water or room temperature water. It's pretty much the same thing, but don't use hot water and don't use cold water unless you're trying to send your plant into shock. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and spray here. Spraying all the leaves. Now, when it comes to these leaves on wiping them, you wanna wipe them the top and the bottom, okay? That's it right there. Now, guys, I'm gonna put this plant down because I do not want it to fall. Let's see here. I think that's a really good view, but we're gonna back it up just a tad. I also bought something else pretty cool. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. We're gonna find out. All right. Let's see if I can get us some more light. There we go. All right, and I'm gonna get us some paper towels and I'm gonna show these to you. I talk about them all the time, but I wanted to make sure I go over it with you. All right. Okay, so these are Viva gloves. You see, sorry, not gloves, paper towels, okay? I was looking for my gloves so I could show you those too to wipe down, but for right now, we're gonna talk about these. These are micro, they're very, very soft to the touch. I don't know if you've had them before, but they are. So you don't have to worry about harming your plant or scratching the leaves. If you don't want to use a regular washcloth, especially if it's not new and it's been in your washing machine and it's all rough, you're gonna tear your plant up. So here we go. And this is how you can really tell the maturity of a plant when it starts to fence straight in there. Like, that's crazy. And we're just gonna wipe it. Now remember, I only put a little bit of neem oil in here and some water. Your plant, it shouldn't be coming out looking oily. Now, I will say this. You can get this from the store too. This is really good. Only thing about this is that it is a little bit oily, and I feel like if you use too much of it and it just sits there on the leaf, that also could be a hindrance and blocking the light off too, because it's still not clean. It's more like blurry. That's the way I see it. As in the windshield isn't clean, but it's just a little bit blurry. This right here is water. Am I going to get a little bit of shine to it? Yes. And neem oil and peppermint soap together are supposed to make the pests not want to bother you. This one right here doesn't have that in there though, but it has a couple of things in here that's supposed to kill eggs and adult insects, broad spectrum control for indoor, outdoor use. It's for use for hydroponic systems if you have that. I don't. I want to get into that. I'm looking into leca, guys. If anybody is working with leca and know how to know what kind of plants I can grow in there, give me a suggestion. I will go and buy a new plant and do it. But somebody's gonna have to walk me through on a little bit of things. I'll experiment and we'll grow it in the room. I will buy my plant of choice. I don't want to go over $20 for that. So whatever plant you feel like would do good in just leca or whatever you suggest, we'll go with it, and I'll keep us updated in the room. We'll grow it together. I really just want to see how it go. A lot of people are bragging about having soilless and soil, and I just want in on it. You know, I want to have fun too. All right, so this is how a leaf should be properly wiped, just to spare time. I'm not going to go through this whole plant because that is going to be time consuming. But remember, not just your top leaf, you also want to get behind here. Now I'm not going to lift it up too bad, but you still want to get behind here and wipe off too. It's a little dry right there, so I'm going to spray just to make sure. Now, the reason why you want to get your bottom leaf, why is important? Because that's where your little pests live at the most. Now, when you see them to the top, usually you just got a bad outbreak. But when you look at the bottom of these plants, the leaves, like this right here, this is a good time for you to check out on the health of your plant. If you see a lot of brown, usually your plant is stressed, and is usually stressed because it has some type of pest walking around in there. Unless you already had some pests and you got rid of it, then the plant never turns back green after it turns that. Now, catch it early so that way your plant really doesn't hurt you. And monsteras, another thing I should note to you is that monsteras are known, they will turn to be happy. You don't have to worry about a monstera. That's why I love them. They will do everything they can to be happy. They will grow straight up. They will let you give them direct sun. They'll even let you overwater them on accident a couple of times, okay? They will do that. However, just don't leave them untreated for pests. But they have these turning leaves. I don't know the exact name of it. I should have looked it up. But what they do is they'll adjust themselves to the sunlight. So if too much sun coming in, they know how to move. They know how to pivot up, down. And they're going to all compete and fight for light, every one of your leaves. I don't know. I think we got all the way under here. Not for sure. This is, every time I get in here too, that's when I start to have a new appreciation for my plants, working up on them close. I know I have a couple of stuffing. I'm sorry. 80%. Okay, Vin B17, you're going to have to show me. I follow the advice. Follow the advice, Aleka Queen on YouTube. Okay, I'll look into it. I sure will. And I've been seeing people growing plants out of fish tanks. Now, I believe fish and plants have something in common. Before I got into plants, I was huge into the fish community. Now, I did mainly just freshwater Oscars. I did like one Oscar, but I quickly got bored of them because everybody has an Oscar. So I quickly jumped to the red devil cichlids. I love the aggressive fish, and then I moved to the dovi, and that was my baby. What happened after the dovi died, that's when I really got out of the community. I just lost touch with it. That dovi, Beastly, that was his name. I had bought him. He was at 4-inch. And by the time he finished, he was like that big. Now, I will say one thing. I'm glad that it happened when it did happen before I became fully invested in the new tank. I had him in a 125-gallon tank, but you know that a fish that size, you're looking at about 250 gallons minimum. And I was looking at, I think, almost a 300, if I'm not mistaken. But the cost was so expensive, but that was going to be the next investment of it. I was looking at about $3,000, and that was me going off of Craigslist that had stuff already set up. And then, of course, it was going to be getting the help to build and move, because, you know, those aren't little tanks that you can just set on a dresser. No, they have to come with a stand and a full bottom. So what happened was, went to PetSmart, did the thing that you're not supposed to do, feed your fish other fish. Yeah, fed him some feeder fish, and the feeder fish had ick. And it got into the system, and he flipped out. I couldn't. It sucked. But anyway, guys, all right. So I believe that fish, though, and plants, if you love one, you probably love the other one too. But now we're on to back to the plant. Plants love fish poop. Yep, plants do love fish poop, and actually, glad you said that, because this right here, poop. All right, so this right here is definitely from fish poop. And they do a good job of trying to mask it up with the peppermint smell in it, but you still know what it is. And I'm gonna tell you, I was doing a video, recording a reel, And while I did the pump, I didn't realize that I pumped it so hard until it popped up, shoot, landed right there on my lip. When I tell you that I wanted to holler, but I tried to play it cool in the video because I didn't want to have to do another record. Oh my goodness, it sucked. Oh, fish poop, I tell you. But they do a good job of masking it up, and my plants absolutely love it, and I give it with them on every single water. And this is just the more part where I just go through here and just take my time and go through there. All right, if you all have any questions or anything, then go ahead and throw them in. If not, now I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping some things up. Again, the kids, they get out of school a little early. Well, not a little bit, they're getting out very early. And so I wanna get to a few things while it's peaceful and quiet before they get home and start making all the noise. And hopefully I was able to explain the monstera to you all a little bit better. I really am working hard on being able to say what it is that I mean without a whole bunch of filler words. But I love to talk. I can't help it. I had I can't pronounce that word, and just kept starting. Oh, I hate that had to happen. Definitely start again though. You have to because it's gonna bother you if you don't start it again. And you know what to do. You probably gonna rock it out on the next time because you learned all the stuff, what to do, what not to do. So you're gonna take everything that was at the great that you did right and go from there. That's what I do with the plants. I learn something and I learn what works. And once I learn what works, I'm like, aha! Before you know it, now I got all of them going. And you know what? I do. I want to show you all my philodendron. It's supposed to be a marble, a caramel marble, but it ended up reverted, and this is the plant that I got for. I think I paid $25 for it. You know, I can turn the camera a little bit so you can see where it's located at. I'll bring it closer to you though. I don't want to. See here. Can you see there? Okay. That's probably a little bit better. Okay, you see it all the way in the corner back there, almost directly under the light. You know what? How about this? I changed the room around, and that's what I'm supposed to be talking about. I got a little sidetracked doing the monstera. Do y'all want to see a walk around of the room that I did? And we can go through that right quick. It'll take me like 5-6 minutes. Okay, let's see here. Make sure I pick this mic up. Sorry if y'all hearing something. All right, let's get it. All right. I'm gonna turn this light so we can get as much as we can see. I still have to figure out where to put my records, but I moved this shelf right here that used to be over there. I moved it over here. And I used to have another shelf. Now I'm gonna show y'all this, but you can't judge me. It's a little junky, but yes. So this stuff right here, I had a whole shelf, and I was able to move that back over here, which allowed me to put my monsteras all the way over here. Now this is the one that it goes over here. I just took a picture of it this morning. Hopefully I'm not moving too fast, guys, sorry. All right, and look at my Thai constellation. Look at that leaf, isn't it beautiful? Like I've never seen a leaf so beautiful like that up close. Over here, I'm gonna do my best to pronounce these names, but y'all know how I do. So starting over here is the Monstera esqueletos. You know, I have the bigger versions of those in the living room. They get to be complete monsters. Next, we have our Monstera statulona albo. Those leaves right there, whited out, it's absolutely beautiful. I'm glad it wasn't an all white leaf because that means it has too much chlorophyll, blah, blah, blah. And I got to cut it. And yeah, you know, so I'm just glad it's working good. So over here is the Monstera leclamin, I believe I'm pronouncing that right. But it's that one's growing up too. That one's absolutely beautiful as well. Well, I'm gonna say all of them beautiful. I'm a little biased. So right here, this is the Monstera albo. Pretty much gave me a half moon just about. That was a gift that was sent to me, and it's actually time for me to get ready to pot that plant up too. I believe I said that the last time. Right here is my Monstera Flame, and I'm not gonna lie to you all. This one's been giving me a little bit of problems. The watering cycle is just off. That's the only problem it's giving to me, and I got to get it right. That right there is the Monstera subterracea. It was a lot bigger than that. I had to treat it, cut it all the way down because it had mealy bugs. Have no mealy bugs on it, and it is doing great so far. These I'm finally put all my Monstera Thai constellations together. These are the three that I bought from Lowe's for $29 a piece. About I would say around about March or April, and you can see just how fast they have grown just in that amount of time. I do believe having them moved here now where that grow light is really able to shine on them. And I'm increasing the time to 10 hours on it. Well, hold on a minute. I don't want to lie to you. Yep, it is a 10 hour. With that, it's going to allow these plants to really grow. For the most part, the grow lights usually are pretty far from the plant and it just fights and goes from there. But it's never been that close, and I think it's going to do really good. Over here is the Burr Marks, the philodendron that I purchased from Home Depot about 2, 3 years ago. It was my first YouTube short video that I did outside of the plant room. And I really enjoyed that. And I kept saying, hey, I'm gonna do more of those. But I don't know, guys. You gotta let me know if you like stuff like following me to the store and going from there. I want to keep the content as much as I, can on point for you all. Okay. So this right here is the philodendron reverted caramel marble. Now talk to me on this. Do you see that? It's an absolutely beautiful plant. When it comes in like a bright burgundy, and then it starts to fade to that green. And what I'm gonna do is just get a drill and a screwdriver and add an extension plank on, and just let that joker continue just to climb because my goodness, she's beautiful. Over here we have our Florida bronze. This is our majestic right here, philodendron. I added on another moss pole on that recently, and once she gets to the top of that moss pole, I think I'm gonna go ahead and give her a cut. And we're gonna do something that's gonna be called air noting, and I'm gonna what's called something else, but it's where we take the moss and we're gonna put it around like an area node, and then we're gonna allow it to be able to grow from there. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, she is absolutely beautiful. Now this is my baby too right here. This is the Majesty. Now I get these two confused all the time, the Majesty and the Majestic. So that dark leaf, sorry, I'm getting everywhere. But yeah, she is absolutely beautiful and is growing. My Madridians that are back here, I believe I have this in a really good space now for it to get even more light, for it to be able to fence straight. I didn't put nothing up here because I just didn't want the grow lights fighting for that. And the Rhaphidophia, as you can see, is going that way, and it's also going that way. It's actually at the top there, and I guess it realized it couldn't go no more, so it's about to turn. So I got to figure something out there. I wanted to start running that way so it can make it all the way across the wall. So we're going to see. That is the strawberry shake. And guys, I'm not going to go through every single one of them because I do have to get off. But I just wanted to kind of show you just how and what kind of plants I have. Now, best believe it's still very important, I'm going to tell you. Now, this is the Plamani, Philodendron Plamani. She is absolutely beautiful. I just repotted her in this pot, and it's not, focus is off on it. Come on, focus, focus. Okay, for the most part. I just repotted in here, and it does have, I do have a light under there. So that usually turns on when the rest of the grow lights, and it's also receiving this grow light as well that you see. This is the Godinia down here. And then over here we have our Royal Queen Philodendron. Now, I mistakenly for this, I thought that this one was a Dark Lord, but you could tell between just the way that this leaf is. A philodendron has a heart leaf shape. And I know I'm going to tear it up, but it's a Ebuscrum. We're going to leave it at that. They have a totally different shape. So like the color It's pretty much spot on identical, but it just, about to step on something. It's just the shape of the leaves. All right. And over here, what I have on these racks are just the plants that do great in light by itself. They're all low light requirement plants. And then I just have a grow light to kind of just give it an extra little bit of light. But they mainly have the window there. And I'm going to let them just suck up and take what they can. Now, a few hidden jewels that you wouldn't know was here till I showed you is you might would have overlooked my big moonlight that I have here. I also have my seaward blue inside of that greenhouse, which when the grow lights come on, I do have one of them in particular, this one, that shines into there. And that's going to cause that plant to really just grow up and fin straight. And I can't wait to see what we do. But, and also a gem over here, right there. So, and of course, that's my green goddess right there. So, anyway, guys, I think that's all that I have in me. I appreciate you all being here. Let me make sure we don't have any more messages, and then I'm going to get off. Oh, I missed a few of them. Okay, I have 3 of them. 3 Monstera Thai constellations. Wow, beautiful. All right. All right, guys. Well, you all have a beautiful morning. I won't stay gone for too long. I'll hop on at some point in time. Thank you. Yes, I do have an Instagram. It's He Really Loves His Plants. So, yeah, give me a follow. I also have a TikTok too. I do different things on different platforms. Now, for my YouTube shorts and my TikTok, sometimes they pretty much are identical. But TikTok is all I do. A lot of waking up in the morning time, or I'm going to bed in the evening time, just kind of just shots in there. Now, my Instagram is really just a lot of still plant shots, and I do a little bit of humor in there. So I have a little bit of fun. So it's definitely, just because you follow me on 3 platforms, it don't mean you're gonna get the same thing. They could all be different, coming from the same thing. But yeah. Anyway, you all take care. Be safe out here if you're dealing with the